What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional in the building. Thanks for everybody coming out this evening. Whoever's in the chat, I appreciate you. That one person, I'm sure y'all gonna come in a little later. Even though you brothers and sisters are Moors, you're still on what they call it? CP time. CP time. Come on, Moors. Moors ain't supposed to be on CPT time. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be on time. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not color people. Okay. So let's go into it. We're talking with the brother Mauryell, Yisrael, Abdullah, the dream. I'm calling this the dream team right here. This is the dream team right here. Let's talk about it. Let's go into it. We're gonna go into why shouldn't we call ourselves black, and I'm gonna let these brothers take it away. Before we do that, let's hit this commercial. Let's go to
Peace family. Welcome to NYP Talk Show. This is more than a podcast. It's a conscious platform rooted in truth and culture. From the 5% Nation, Nation of Islam, Moorish movement, and Masonry. Our mission is to reclaim our narrative and uplift the African diaspora with real stories and real conversations. Support us through super chats during live shows, donations on Cash App, GoFundMe, Patreon, or Buzzsprout, and by repping our official merch, available on our website and right here on YouTube's merch shelf. Every dollar, every super chat, every hoodie builds the movement. This is NYP Talk Show.
All right, let's go straight into it, brothers. Glad to have you here this evening. And right now, you can take it away. It's all on y'all.
All right. Peace. All right, so this is part one. Well, we're going to be covering part one, why we shouldn't call ourselves black, applying etymology, grammar, international law principles, and constitutional principles. We're going to build on this today. All right, so the analytical tools. Number one, etymology of the word black. Number two, the grammar of the words Moor and black. Number three, the deconstruction of our Moorish nationality, analyzing how Moor was added to blackamoor, making blackamoor a compound word. Number four, analyzing nationalities in national constitutions, embodying national character and national standing of the people of a nation into a national constitution. Number five, the connection between nationality of the people and the constitutional name of a nation / national name of a nation / state's identity / sovereign identity of a state. And number six, the connection between nationality and sovereignty. These are the tools we're gonna use today. You know, in this image we have the flags of different nations. In the center, in the middle of that, we have a magnifying glass, magnifying in on the word nationality, and on the land as well. So connecting the flags to the land and to nationality. That's what this image is doing. The basic tool for the manipulation of reality is the manipulation of words. If you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who must use them. Philip K. Dick.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, etymology of the word black. And number two, the grammar of the words Moor and black. The word black in the adjective sense is etymon line. So you can use etymonline.com, type in the word black. Origin and history of the word black. Black is an adjective. Old English, Blake, absolutely dark, absorbing all light, of the color of soot or coal, reconstructed to be from Proto-Germanic blakas, B-L-A-K-A-Z, meaning burned. Source also of Old Norse, blacker, B-L-A-K-K-R, meaning dark. Old High German, blah, B-L-A-H, meaning black. Swedish, black, meaning ink. Dutch, blaken, meaning to burn. From Pi, Proto-Indo-European, beleg, B-H-L-E-G dash, beleg, meaning to burn, gleam, shine, flash. Source also of Greek, phlegon, meaning to burn, scorch. Latin, flagrare, to blaze, glow, burn. From root, bel, bhel dash, bel, meaning to shine, flash, burn. The usual Old English word for black was swart. See swart. The word black in the adjective sense, the same root produced Middle English blake, pale, from Old English black, blac, bright, shining, glittering, pale. The connecting notions being perhaps fire. So the connecting notions being perhaps fire, bright, and burned, dark, or perhaps absence of color. According to OED, Oxford English Dictionary, in Middle English, it is often doubtful whether black, blac, black, blak, and blake, blake, means black, dark, or pale, colorless, wan, livid. And the surname Blake can mean either one of pale complexion or one of dark complexion. So this is showing the word black. We're showing the word bel, bhel dash, Proto-Indo-European, meaning to shine, flash, burn. And show it's showing from the past up to the present. So bringing it to the present, bhleg, bleg dash pi, that's Proto-Indo-European, meaning to burn, gleam, shine, flash. So first we have to shine. First, bhel means to shine, flash, burn. The second one is beleg, meaning to burn, gleam, shine, flash. And then we have Proto-Germanic, blakaz, blakaz, meaning burned. And then we have Blake, Old English, absolutely dark, absorbing all light, the color of soot or coal. And then we have the word black, black, in the adjective form. The word black in the verb sense. So this is the verb sense of the word black. Black, verb, century 1200, intransitive, become black. Early 14th century, transitive, make black. Darken, put a black color on. From black, adjective. So from the adjective form. Especially clean and polished boots, shoes, etc. By blacking and brushing them. 1550s. Related, blacked, blacking. Also from century 1200. So we got the word black in the noun sense. Old English Blake, the color black. Also ink, from noun use of black, adjective. It is attested from late 14th century as dark spot in the pupil of the eye. The meaning dark-skinned person, African, is from 1620s, perhaps late 13th century, and blackamoor is from 1540s. The meaning black clothing, especially when worn in mourning, is from century 1400s. The word Negro, 1550s, member of a black skin race of Africa, from Spanish or Portuguese, Negro. Black, from Latin, nigrum, nominative, nigger. Black, dark, sable, dusky, applied to the night sky, a storm, the complexion. Figuratively, gloomy, unlucky, bad, wicked. According to Devan, a word of unknown etymology. According to Watkins, perhaps from Proto-Indo-European, nekwt, nekw-t-, meaning night. The Latin word also was applied to the black peoples of Africa, but the usual terms were Ethiops and Afar.
Islam. Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
First things first, rise, give perfect praise to Allah, honors to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali, honors to the Harbinger Marcus Garvey, honors to the first Supreme Grand Sheikh Edward Mauryell, and to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh Keith Davis Hill, your brother Mauryell Smith Hill, out here in 29 in Denver, Colorado. Two key dates were shared in these last two slides, I believe. 1550s for Negro, 1540s for Blackamoor, right? So again, this is all before 1619. This is after the fall of Granada in 1492, and now this is a few decades in now, where Spain and Portugal are, becoming a naval power and spreading globally. So when we look at how Africans were already being shipped to the Americas before the 1540s and before the 1550s. So what this context is saying is that as the Spanish and the Portuguese are building their empire, they are now having to use these terms, right, to cement the process of enslavement, of stripping the nationality away, of denigrating the image of Moorish people. Because prior to the fall of 1492, right, the Moors, again, were beloved. You're talking about the people that ran the trade industries. You're talking about the people that usually were the musicians. Same thing today. Like, people love us, and at the same time, right, dislike us because for the things they love us for. Right. So just wanted to give a little context to this timeline that, etymology.com is speaking on, because it's important for us to understand that really this time period between 1492 and, like I said, the first episode we spoke on, brother, 1610 and 1619 is probably the most important time period for us to look into, because the foundation from which everything else starts to fall into place.
So,
yeah.
Man, I wanna keep that slide up there real quick. I just want to look at that. Okay, yeah. Just based on what the brother said, because some stuff resonates with me from things that I learned from the 5% Nation, and John Hawkins is mentioned from 1555 and the good ship Jesus and all that like that period. So, I'm just like, in my mind, tying things together.
Yeah. All right.
I want to add here, for those who have Moors and Masonry Part 1, that you will see in my book, Moors and Masonry Part 1, the tremendous power of the Moors. Moors didn't fall. Moorish power did not end in 1492. Moorish power in Europe, let's be clear, but it's for the audience. Moorish power didn't end in 1492. Moorish power in Europe ended in 1492.
Yeah.
In my book, Moors and Masonry Part 1, with extensive references, showing tremendous Moorish power, sea power, seizing European ships, seizing Europeans by the tens of thousands during the 15, 16, and 1700s. Yeah. Europeans controlling the high seas in the treaties that I have in Moors and Masonry Part 1 from the Consolidated Treaty Series. Clyde Perry Consolidated Treaty Series. These European powers, that's England and Netherlands and France. In fact, the 1952 case between France and the United States in the International Court of Justice. The France used 3 types of treaties to determine the extent of that. There was 3 types of treaties that were used to determine the extent of United States extraterritorial jurisdiction in Morocco. The first type of treaty was with the primary type, the Moorish bilateral treaties from 1631 to 1892 with 10 European powers. You also have there was a conference in in June of 2016, before I put out Moors and Masonry Part 1, in June of 2016, there was a conference, Barbary Captivity Narrative Conference. This is a major conference, and about 10 scholars that were at the conference, I use reference in Moors and Masonry Part 1. There were about 30 scholars there. You had keynote speakers and panelists. This is major. In fact, if I had known about it, I would not attend the conference by myself. I would be afraid. Why would I be afraid to attend the conference by myself? Because they're talking about us. We the enemy. I'm the enemy. Those narratives, those scholars are reading about us. We have them in captivity. So I would go with y'all, but I would not go by myself. So this is serious.
Yeah.
I just want the audience to know that Moorish, once again, just to recap, Moorish power did not end in 1492. Moorish power in Europe ended in 1492. I yield.
All right. Next slide. That's the continuation for the word Negro in the noun sense, meaning African American vernacular. The English language as spoken by U.S. blacks is from 1704. French nègre is a 16th century borrowing from Spanish negro. Older English words were Moor and blackamoor. So again, French nègre is a 16th century borrowing from Spanish negro, and older English words were Moor and blackamoor. A Middle English word for Ethiopian, perhaps also a Negro, generally was blueman or blue man. Origin and history of blackamoor. The word blackamoor in a noun sense, meaning dark-skinned person, black-skinned African, 1540s, from black, adjective, plus more with connecting element. As we see the word black, the B in the word black is not capitalized, it's lowercase b, and it's an adjective. Plus, to put it together, it's a compound word. So plus the word more, and you see the word more is a capitalized M. So the M is capitalized. You don't capitalize the word if it's an adjective, but you'll capitalize the word if it's a proper noun. The word more.
Let me real quick, Israel. That's a key. Go back to that slide. That's key there, because you would have so-called. I'm not calling them scholars, so I'm not going to apologize. So I need to apologize. So-called African scholars. Hey, that will say, that will dismiss with it. That will dismiss this right in front of this evidence, right in front of the face, in dictionaries and 1416, and we'll show it. More means black. Like they'll just, more means black. So-called African scholars.
Yeah.
Now they got an agenda, y'all. My brothers and sisters, please hear me. I know that y'all love some of these folks. I know y'all do. I know that y'all love them. My brothers and sisters. Everybody ain't for our rise that look like you. Everybody that look like us ain't for our rise.
Yeah.
Everybody getting coined. They getting coins selling these selling these black books. Get out my pocket, Malcolm. Everybody that look like us ain't for our eyes. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right. The word Moor in the noun sense, meaning North African, Berber, one of the race dwelling in Barbary, late 14th century, from Old French, Moor, M-O-R-E, from medieval Latin, Morus, M-O-R-U-S, from Latin, Maurus, M-A-U-R-U-S, inhabitant of Mauritania, Roman Northwest Africa, a region now corresponding to northern Algeria and Morocco, from Greek, Mauros, M-A-U-R-O-S, perhaps a native name, or else cognate with Mauros, black, but this adjective appears in late Greek and may as well be from the people's name. Also applied to the Arabic conquerors of Spain, being a dark people in relation to Europeans. Their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro. Later, 16th century through the 17th century, being the name of the nearest Muslims to Western Europe. It was used indiscriminately of Muslims, Persians, Arabs, etc., but especially those in India. Cognate with Dutch, Moor, German, Moor, M-O-H-R, Danish, Maurer, M-A-U-R-E-R, Spanish, Moro, M-O-R-O, Italian, Moro, M-O-R-O, related, Mores.
Islam. Can I jump in there? And it's really to camelback on Brother Mosi Bey's point about how a lot of scholars like to say that the term Moor means black. And even, this post right here on etymology.com lets you know that, we have to dig further. So you will hear oftentimes that, again, the term Moor is equated to black because it goes back to the Latin or the Greek. However, the term Moor is much older than the Latin and Greek languages. So you have, I'll read this part right here. It's actually in my book that's coming out, The Missing Piece to the Puzzle. But it says, the etymology of the word Moor can also be traced back to the Canaanite Phoenician term Mahorin, meaning Westerners, from Carl Skutch. It says, including Encyclopedia of the World's Minorities by Routledge, page 31, the World History Encyclopedia also states that the name Maori might originally derive from a Punic word meaning Westerner. According to Lawrence Waddell, Muru, Mur, or Murutu can also be translated as the meaning of the Western Sea or Sea of the Setting Sun. The Akkadian Amuru occur as a geographical term meaning literally the West. In Sumerian, the Amorites were known as the Mortu or the Titna. In Akkadian by the name of Amuru, and in Egypt as Amar, all of which means Westerners or those of the West. It must be noted that the Hebrew terms Morab, Mauryell, Moraba, Ma'ab also means West. The Hebrew Mahur also means Westerner. Princeton and Harvard professor and scholar Philip Curti-Hitti provided that the Romans called Western Africa Mauritania and its inhabitants Maori, origin meaning Western. So I have a bunch of sources that points to the older languages, Phoenician, Hebrew, Akkadian, Amorite, all of these older, what they call so-called Semitic languages.
Yeah, right.
Older than the Latin and the Greek, the term Moor goes back to meaning Westerner. Now you also have, I've heard brothers like Hopkins Bay talk about how also in the Syriac language, the term Moor also means Lord as well. So it's like there's several, and then I think also the brother Cosmo brought up how in his book, Moors meaning the high priest of Anu. So there are several, in older languages, derivatives from where the term Moor comes from. Strabo, the Roman scholar, also says that the term Moor or Mori, which the term Moor comes from, is also native in origin. And that, again, the Latins and the Greeks adopted this term from the natives themselves. So we always have to make that distinction, because a lot of scholars will simply just go do right here what we're looking at. Go to etymology.com, see that they say, oh, it comes from the black, it comes from the Latin or the Greek moros, and just say more means black. And that's totally leaving out thousands of years of historical context. And, you know, it's not on these scholars to really bring this truth, because, you know, they're not Moorish Americans. It's upon Moorish Americans to start to really, you know, cast this truth into the four winds, like the prophet instructed us to do. Islam.
Yeah, but what they do attack us, though. They do attack us. They have an agenda. So they have an agenda. Get your hand out my pocket, Malcolm. They selling books. They lecture. They have an agenda. They have influence on the people, which affects our rise. I am holding them accountable. They affect our rise. They're in the way.
So just to be clear, who are you talking about exactly?
I'm not naming anybody, brother.
No, I'm not asking you to name names.
All right, great.
No.
It's so-called scholars, so-called African.
So like Afrocentrists.
Yeah. Them.
Okay.
I can name some, and these are people that I actually listen to.
Hey, let him name it. Let him name it. I'm already coming after this. I
listen to them, and I actually value that information. And I think it's upon us as Moorish Americans that, you know, we have the ability to listen to people we don't necessarily agree with, so that we can expand our perspective and be more in depth with our talking points. So you have people like, you know, Abdullah Hakeem Quick. I love his book. He has a great book about, you know, the Muslim presence in America, but he talks about, you know, how the term Moor means black. You have Robin Walker. I love Robin Walker. I have his book, When We Ruled. I have another book called Everyday Life in the West African Empire. But he also, you know, talks about this. Mustafa Briggs, a young Muslim brother with a lot of great knowledge, who I just recently bought his book as well, who also said that the term Moor just goes back to black. So these are just some few people who have a, you know, big following within the community who says this. Now, I don't completely put all the blame on them, because, you know, they haven't subscribed or been properly introduced to a Moorish American that can really break this down to them in a thorough way. So, I mean, we can put the blame on them, but at the end of the day, it's upon us to teach properly.
Right. All right. So now we're going to move forward on this slide.
Yeah. We'll get back to it. All right. Next, learning the 9 parts of speech using etymology. So then we're getting into the 9 parts of speech. Grammar. So adjective. The word adjective is a noun function. The function of the word adjective is a word used to qualify, limit, or define a noun or noun-like part of speech. True sense, from ad dash add to or near. So the word ad dash is a prefix meaning to or near, plus pi root ye, ye dash meaning to throw, impel, equals to throw near. For more clarity, an adjective is a describing word. An adjective describes a person, place, or thing, and is distinguished from an identity. Hence, a description and an identity are not synonymous. One's nationality is not an adjective. The words below are adjectives. And you'll see that none of them are capitalized. Black, white, big, small, loud, quiet, aboriginal, foreign. So these words describe. Learning the 9 parts of speech using etymology. The word verb. The word verb is a noun. The function, a word that asserts or declares that part of speech of which the office is predication, and which either alone or with various modifiers or adjuncts combines with a subject to make a sentence. From Pi root, Proto-Indo-European root, were, W-E-R-E, dash, meaning to speak. Sanskrit, vrata, V-R-A-T-A, dash, meaning command, vow. For more clarity, a verb is an action word. A verb is not the action. A verb is a word used to identify or denote a specific motion, movement, or action. The words below are verbs. Paint, color, unite, protect. The word noun is a noun, and the function in grammar is a name, a word that denotes a thing, material or immaterial. From Proto-Indo-European root, nomen, meaning name. For more clarity, a noun is a naming word. A chair is not a noun. Saying a chair is a noun is incorrect. However, the word chair is a noun. Therefore, saying the word chair is a noun is correct. The word chair is used to identify, not to describe, an object which consists of four legs, a seat, and a back. The words below are nouns, common and proper. On the left side, we have common nouns. Car, nationality, country, store, dog. You see none of those words are capitalized because they're common nouns. You capitalize proper nouns. On the right side, we have proper nouns. Mercedes, Moore, Morocco, Walmart, Rottweiler. So step on solid grounds by studying and applying the true sense meaning of words with their proper part of speech. We will be able to identify the constructive fraud and begin to free our minds from the mental chains of the modern day race concept of white people, black people, etc. No longer will we say I am black or they are white, because we will know that people in the real world identify using their nationality, which connects them to a nation, i.e. land, flag, a constitution, treaties, etc., providing them with inherited protection. Claiming to be white, black, brown, etc. disconnects the people from a nation, dehumanizes them, and disables their human rights, political rights, civil rights, and economic rights, etc. For more clarity, let's dissect the statement, I am black. I, the word I, is a pronoun and means the first person singular nominative, i.e. myself or me. The word am is a verb and means to be meaning to exist or existing. The word black is an adjective. It is from Pi, Proto-Indo-European, bel, B-H-E-L, meaning to shine, flash, burn. If we follow the word black as a noun in the 1540s, we'll find that it is an ellipse of the word blackamoor, a reconstructed word applied to swarthy, dark complexion Moors. When we apply etymology, proper grammar, and critical thinking, the decoded sentence or the truth behind the misconception reads, I am a Moor. Yes, the word Negro is commonly used in Spanish to describe inanimate objects as the color black. Examples, el coche negro, the black car. La camisa negra, the black shirt. Los zapatos negros, the black shoes. Las bolsas negras, the black bags. In these examples, negro, or its feminine and / or plural forms, negra, negros, negras, functions as an adjective to describe the color of the inanimate objects, car, shirt, shoes, bags. It's important to remember that in Spanish, adjectives must agree in gender and number with the noun they describe. Example sentences. El perro es negro. The dog is black. Hay muchas vacas. Aquí aquella es negra. There are lots of cows. That one over there is black. Tu perro es negro. Y el mío es blanco. Your dog is black and mine is white.
Man, your Spanish is bad, brother.
Your baba Llevaba una camisa negra, jeans y gafas de sol. He was wearing a black shirt, jeans, and sunglasses. Concentrate, man.
We gotta joke a little bit, man.
Yeah. Gotta exercise the tongue and that hypoglossal nerve to get this, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so look. Further proof of the true definition of the Latin term Moorish can be found in early English Latin dictionaries. Moorish, Maurus, was synonymous with Moor, Negro, and Ethiops. In John Eddick's A New English Latin Dictionary, 1783. In a New Latin English Dictionary by William Young, 1810, Moorish is a black Moor. According to the Ainsworth Latin Dictionary, Mauryell's abridgment by Alexander Jameson, Robert Ainsworth, 1828, Moorish means black Moor. The English term Moor also meant black in English dictionaries and encyclopedias prior to the 20th century.
I don't mean to cut you. I don't mean to cut you, but I want to talk about these dates right now. Mauryell, what was going on in history during these times? Do you have any recollection, any information, during these times?
I mean, well, we look at these dates: 1783, 1768, early 1800s, right? The 1700s is where the shift globally really starts to happen. So our brother Mosby Bay was saying, after 1492, that was the end of Moorish rule in Europe. So between the 1500s, the 1600s, things were still pretty much about even between, Catholic Christian civilization and, Moorish Muslim civilization, right? Because you have the Barbary slave trade, all of these things happening. You have Morocco being a big power, even teaming up with England during that time as well. But then once we get into the late 1700s, early 1800s, it's now becoming clear that Britain is, going to be the world power at that time. So when we start to look at that, what we're really starting to see is, of course, the prophet says 1774 was when we were first stripped of our nationality, as far as us being in this country, right? This is the foundations of this country, because obviously the process of stripping our nationality happened way before then. But understanding that he's talking specifically about this country in the United States, this early time period, again, is showing that at the beginning of the early years of the United States, they are still trying to suppress our history. I think that's the biggest context in what they're reading right now, is that, again, early in this time period, they're still trying to suppress our history, because now we're starting to see like the true decline and the true fall off during this time period, because, later in the 1800s, that's when you get the scrambling of Africa and all these different things. So it's really showing the natural process of, more civilization becoming, weaker at this time period.
Okay.
This for qualification, when he says this country, even though country refers to land, but when he says in this country, he doesn't refer it's actually United States being a political jurisdiction, like meaning United States acquired territorial sovereignty from Spain and from France, from the United States of Mexico through land boundary cession treaties. So this country meaning the United States political jurisdiction, all right, operating what people call throughout the world a country. Mm-hmm. But, as far as, because a lot of people not knowing international law, well, the reason why the United States relates to land is that United States acquired territorial jurisdiction, territorial sovereignty, meaning that United States is exercising territorial sovereignty over landmass. But it doesn't mean the actual, physical United States is the actual land. It's just the United States is exercising territorial sovereignty. That's the international law language to use. So, but I know, so I just want to clear what he means by this country. I mean, that the point of time in which the United States, came into political jurisdiction, having that treaty with Great Britain in 1783, acquiring territorial sovereignty from Spain and France and United States and Mexico. So that's what he means by in this country.
And then understanding as well, again, the image of the Moor at this point in time is still strong. What you also have is, of course, at this time period, a lot of Moorish people were being enslaved in this time period. However, many Moors, when we look at what was going on in Florida, right, were free, right, and also understanding that up until the Civil War, these wars are being fought, the Seminole Wars and things like that. So you have this, or the Maroons in the swampland area in either Virginia or North Carolina, South Carolina, in that area. So you have these different autonomous communities that are filled with people of Moorish descent during this time as well. So again, this is why we have this posturing of European people trying to determine what a Moor is, because the brainwashing hasn't fully happened, because you're still getting people coming fresh over from Africa, and you still have people that are free or fought for their freedom over here in the Americas as well. So what we see is like they're still in the process of trying to wipe out the national memory of a people.
Yeah. All right. So this is the earliest known use, Middle English. The earliest known use of the noun blackamoor is in the Middle English period, 1150s through the 1500s. Old English, Oxford English dictionaries, earliest evidence for blackamoor is from before 1460 in the writing of Osborne, Bokenham, poet and Augustinian friar. Blackamoor is formed within English by compounding etymons black adjective and moor noun.
Hey Ron, this is why I say so-called scholars. All right, you got to understand that I've done extensive research. That's why I don't call them scholars. I use so-called because of the extensive research that I've done. That to not, like, if someone says that I'm a scholar, that I'm an African scholar, and they don't know nothing about the Moors, and you accept them as scholars, they know nothing about the Moors, but they're a scholar. They are a historian, but know nothing about the Moors. We're showing you the extensive in dictionaries for 300 years. Blackamoor was used interchangeably, synonymous with Negro and Ethiopian for 300 years, 15, 16, 1700s. Extensive research, Moorish power, treaties, diplomatic relations, captivity narratives, but they are scholars, but don't know anything about the Moors. How can they be considered scholars then? That's why I said, that's why I'm wanting to let to the audience know why I call them so-called scholars.
Yep.
I don't have the respect that other people have for them. I don't.
All right. So this is race. Frederick Blumenbach introduced one of the race-based classifications on the natural variety of mankind. In the second edition, Blumenbach changed his original geographically based 4-race arrangement to a 5-group one that emphasized physical morphology, the study of the form of an organism. Blumenbach's 5 categories were Caucasian, the white race, Mongolian, the yellow race, Malayan, the brown race, Ethiopian, the black race, and American, the red race.
Real quick, I'm gonna say somebody's name now, Dr. Ben. I'm gonna say somebody's name, Dr. Ben. 30 years ago, I was at Taj's house, Taj Sharif Bey. We were watching a VHS, remember VHS tape, and Dr. Ben, I know Dr. Ben, he was sitting down and he said that at the apex, I'm quoting, at the climax of my education, the word climax of my education, I studied Moorish history at the University of Barcelona. Dr. Ben is someone like me who's done extensive research in Moorish history, but he's not known for that. I'm talking about dissertation. I'm not talking about the books that I'm not talking about the book that people bought. I'm not talking about the books that's in the bookstore. I'm talking about his dissertation. Dr. Ben got a PhD in Moorish history. That means a dissertation of 500 pages, a dissertation of 100 sources. You got to look at dissertations. Look at the back. They have at least about 40, 50 pages of references. But he's not known for that. Why not? Now Dr. Ben is a Moorish scholar. Dr. Ben was a Moorish scholar, but he's not known for that. So why is Dr. Ben not known for being a Moorish scholar? When he did the research, he did. At the apex, how can you say, Dr. Ben, I know he's transitioned, that at the climax of your education, studied Moorish history in Spain, Barcelona, but in your books, you got black. The people don't even know him for that.
But to be fair, brother, remember you said at the climax of his education.
Yes.
So I'm assuming he came out with those books prior to that.
No, after. After.
And then that's Moorish history, right? So the idea of Negro, black, and colored, maybe he didn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
No. I'm talking about he doesn't have books on that though. I'm talking about my point I'm making, Ron.
He doesn't have books on Moorish history.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm talking about the books that's in bookstores. I'm talking about books that's in bookstores. Mm-hmm. His books are in bookstores. This like my book, Moors and Masonry. I'm known for that. He's one of the few. Dr. Ben is, but Dr. Ben's like I am. Dr. Ben did extensive research. You have to do extensive to get a PhD, brother. You got to do extensive research. I'm talking the books that in bookstores. I'm talking about what he's known for. Dr. Ben ain't known for teaching Moorish history, but he knew it. That's what I'm talking about. So I'll just say one name because that's a direct quote from him 30 years ago. That's a direct quote. It never left me. At the climax 30 years ago was a VHS tape at Taj's house. I'll rest on that. Like I said, I know these people love these people. I know that. I know they love these people. I'm telling you, everybody's not for our eyes, my brothers, that look like us. I know people love these people because the black thing is in. Black. And that has to do, now I'm going to get on conscious Moors. Now this is conscious Moors. We got to step our game up, conscious Moors. That should not be. Black should not be the popular. After 112 years, why is black still, after 112 years, that means that's what? Conscious Moors. We got to step our game up. Got to step our game up.
I think he probably didn't speak on it out of fear of being deported. I believe Van Sertima was kind of under the same measure as well.
Well, my thing is, we got to look at the mathematics. Like, when did he, study Moorish history? Was it before he came out with all those black books? We got to look at the timeline to make a, to be right and exact. You got to look at the timeline. Give people a fair chance, fair shot. Because let's say if you look at the timeline and it says that, he came out with all these Afrocentric books before he went deep into Moorish history, you know what I mean? And then in his later career where he stopped making books, now he knows more Moorish history. I don't know. It could be that, it could be a number of things. You know what I'm saying?
We saw this tape 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was 30 years ago when we saw the VHS tape.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
We saw it over 30 years ago. I remember that it was VHS tape. That was 30 years ago. He transitioned, a few years ago. It wasn't that long. He was still lecturing.
He died in 2015.
He died in 2015. So 30 years ago, that was 1990. That was 1996. That was 1996. So let's look at 90. I'm talking about the time that we saw it. I don't know when that was recorded. I'm talking about when we saw it. I didn't say when it was recorded 30 years ago. I'm talking about when Taj and I saw it was 30 years ago. So let's look at the time that we saw it. 1998, 1996 to what? 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 96 from the time I saw it, Taj and I saw it, to 2015. How many years ago is that? 18 years.
Okay.
That's 18 years from the time that I saw it to the time he transitioned.
All right, and then he was 78 in 1996. So I would say he was already old. He was already past his prime. He died an old man. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
he was what? He was 76 and what? In 90 and 90
78.
78 and 90 and 96?
No,
you sure? Go get. When was he born?
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I don't think that math is.
Yeah, I want to move on and then.
But only because you bringing it up, and I just want to put that math out there, like hey, I'm let people know what year we saw it. Yeah, and that I just want to put the record out there. I only said his name because that I mentioned a quote. That was a direct quote from him.
Yeah, we're getting sidetracked, but he did.
Yeah, we getting sidetracked. So let's stay on. Yeah, my bad. That's on me. I blame myself.
So the crime of the race paradigm. 100 millions of people have been socially engineered under the colonial influence of Francois Bernier, French, Karl Linnaeus, Swedish, and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, German, known as the fathers of constructors of the modern day race paradigm. See YouTube, The Fathers of the Modern Race Paradigm, Part 1, 2, and 3, presented by Hope, or HOPE. The social construct of the race paradigm is the foundation of the psychosis agenda of the United States public education system to wrongly identify and misclassify people as chromospectrums, i.e. white, black, brown, etc. Surely these well-trusted teachers, professors, etc., holding at minimum a bachelor's degree, are not overlooking this obvious grammatical error of using adjectives describing words to identify people, while at the same time claiming they are teaching grammar to their students and even their own children. So can you say mental genocide? So number 3, the deconstruction of our Moorish nationality, analyzing how black was added to Moor, Blackmore, and Blackamoor. Blackmore in the 1599 Geneva Bible, Jeremiah 39:16. Go and speak to Abed Melech, the Blackmore, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil and not for good, and they shall be accomplished in that day before thee. Jeremiah 46:9. Come up, ye horses, and rage ye chariots, and let the valiant man come forth, the Blackmores and the Libyans that bear the shield, and the Lydians that handle and bend the bow. Ezekiel 29:10. Behold, therefore I come upon thee, and upon thy rivers, and I will make the land of Egypt utterly waste and desolate, from the tower of Syene even unto the borders of the Blackmores. This is BibleGateway.com, Jeremiah 13:23, the 1599 Geneva Bible version. Can the Blackmore change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good, that are accustomed to do evil. We're going to compare this to the same website, BibleGateway.com, same verse, Jeremiah 13:23, but a different version. It's the King James Version Bible. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good, that are accustomed to do evil. So the King James Version was 1611. The first copy of that was 1611. And it uses the word Ethiopian instead of Blackmore, as it is used in the 1599 Geneva Bible. So the 1599 Geneva Bible predates the King James Version. Same wording except for the identity of the people, from Blackmore to Ethiopian. 1599 Geneva Bible, Jeremiah 13:23. Can the Blackmore change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good, that are accustomed to do evil. So, calling ourselves.
Well, hold on. I want to go back to that, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the King James Version, and then this is the Geneva Bible, the Geneva Version. Geneva, Switzerland. So King James made a version for his subjects, for the nations and people that he ruled.
It's the same. The only thing that changes Blackamoor. That means Blackmore.
Yeah, that's it. Everything else is almost word for word.
That's a clear burial. Like that. Why was Blackmore removed?
Yeah,
and replaced with Ethiopian. Like what was that's you talking about that's 1611. So 1599, like 12 years later.
Yep.
And then you have the 1560 or 1640 Geneva Bible. 16. So you can see that Blackmore was used throughout the 1500s.
Yep.
Like this spelling, Blackmore.
Yes,
And then Blackamoor was used throughout the 1700s.
Yep.
Like you can see a deliberate thumb down. Like what like why replace Blackmore with Ethiopian?
And why are we taking this so lightly?
Oh, thank you. That's my point.
Wake them up.
That's my point.
For real.
Thank you, Ron. That's the point I've been making. You say why? It's major. That's the point.
Showing the burial.
Oh, wait, we got a question here. What is the difference between the Empire of Morocco and the Kingdom of Morocco?
The Empire of Morocco is what is currently all right. So, all right, you have, as I said before, Moorish power ended in Europe in 1492, and so in the 1500s, throughout the 15s, so there was a slow decline of Moorish power. All right, in 15. So after about the mid 1600s, all right, 1700 was still in power, but there was a slow decline.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the treaty between France and the Kingdom of Morocco, 1631, was a very favorable treaty for the for the Empire of Morocco, but now in the 17, I think 1740, 17 something, 50 something treaty. That was where the French gained a lot of concessions, so you can actually see that the power waned in the mid 1700s. The empire, the Kingdom of Morocco, is actually those of French descent, claiming to be Moors. They ain't Moors. Go to YouTube. I mean, go to this Google. Just look at images. Go to images. Look at what the people look like. They don't look like the people that's on this that you see right now. They don't look like us. Like how they come to look like that?
Islam. I would add as well. Like you was mentioning, that's the TV image, but still in Morocco today, you still have Moors who are of a darker skin into today, especially. The further south you go in the country of Morocco.
All right.
But then also looking at, the Kingdom of Morocco is the, territory that is called Morocco today, post-colonialism, right? The Empire of Morocco is a territory much bigger than the territory today prior to colonialization that is historically in alignment with the areas from which we were put simply.
And tremendous political power, political and economic power, the Empire of Morocco. So you have to look at the history. That's what I said, Moors and Masonry Part 1. You got to look at the history so you can see the power of the Moroccan Empire. In fact, those treaties that I have in Moors and Masonry Part 1 has a lot to do with setting the commercial and economic foundation for them today. From France and Portugal and Sweden and Great Britain, you have the navigation treaty. The navigation treaty with Algiers and Great Britain. The 1701 navigation treaty. These are major treaties that allow Great Britain to expand her commerce. That's a direct correlation to today. I'll yield on that. History matters, my brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm. So is it calling ourselves black or indoctrinated under subjugation into falsely thinking we are black? The calling ourselves black is a false claim. Under subjugation, Spain and Portugal classified our people as Negro, France classified us as Noor, and England as black. We waive our subjugation, dehumanization, denationalization, and genocidal claims by claiming that our people are calling themselves black. From Moor to Blackmore, to Blackamoor, to black, the systematic burial of the nationality, national identity, and national character of a people. What is the meaning of United States Supreme Court Justice Daniel's statement in the Dred Scott versus Sanford case of 1857? That the African Negro race never have acknowledged as belonging to the family of nations, that is amongst them there never has been known or recognized by the inhabitants of other countries anything partaking of the character of nationality or civil or political polity, that this race has been by all the nations of Europe regarded as subjects of capture or purpose.
Now you have people that will, Jasmine Crockett, you have Maxine Waters. They were refer to that statement, Justice Daniel's statement, as racist, and they will be wrong. They will be wrong. They would call Justice Daniels, he's a racist. This statement is in line with Juali. Juali supports this statement. Juali said, "We're not what? We're not what? So what? African Negro race. That's not a people. No character of nationality." So if any Europeans, more classified Negro black, calls Justice Daniels a racist, they're against our rights. They're against our rights. But then, because the claim would be that we're Negroes, then. To say that Justice Daniels is the racist, that he was wrong, would be the claim that we're Negroes. That's against our rights.
Yeah.
This statement's in line with international law. Dealing with captivity, laws at sea, because you're talking about no character of nationality. All right. Does this statement apply to does this statement apply to the people, the native people of Hawaii? They're subjugated. Remember, the native people of Hawaii are subjugated. The native people of Hawaii have been subjugated since 1898. They were forced into the United States legal system. But does this statement apply to them? Having no character and nationality? No, that don't apply. They character and nationality. All right. That's amongst them. Have never been known or recognized by the inhabitants of other countries of anything particular character and nationality, and never have acknowledged as belongs to the family nations. That statement doesn't apply to the native people of Hawaii. They what? No character and nationality, have been known have been known from belonging to family nations. So this would not apply, and that's subjugated. So this is in line with Juali, that we're not Negroes, colors, blacks, Ethiopians, because that's no character of nationality, have never belonged to the family of nations. Now go to the next one.
Islam, real quick as well.
Yes.
You know, in the Moorish article dedicated to the sons of man, you know, the last paragraph it states, in the deliberation of nations, no consideration is given to a people who are not of a nation. In 1774, the Europeans of this country took the birthrights away from a people whom they forced under bondage. They were not slaves, they were bound freemen. The subsequent generation who followed them in this bondage were slaves because their minds have been subjugated to a European psychology. They were branded with the name Negro and were separated from the illustrious history of their forefathers who were the founders of the first civilization. All right, so one huge thing is understanding that the first generation of, again, people brought to the Americas from West Africa, they knew who they were, they knew the language, they remember the customs, all of these different things, but they couldn't necessarily pass those things down to their children because of fearing for their children's life. So they rather not pass certain things down because they didn't want their children to, you know, say something in their home language or any of these different things to literally protect them. But this is what we start to have, you know, that erasure of custom coming through the plantation system, because again, you know, I want to repeat it, is that, you know, these first generation Moors that were brought over here fear for their children's life if they would have passed certain things on.
Okay. So let's analyze the following questions in the realm of international law. What is the meaning of the United States Supreme Court Justice Daniel's statement in the 1857 Dred Scott versus Sanford case in the context of international law? That the African Negro race never have acknowledged as belonging to the family of nations, that as amongst them, there never has been known or recognized by the inhabitants of other countries anything partaking of the character of nationality or civil or political polity, that this race has been by all nations of Europe regarded as subjects of capture or purpose.
That's a true statement, and Juali supported towards that, and I support that. That's based in the law based in the law of salvage. The law says see, and then we'll bring that up. We'll bring up from H.W. Halleck's book of dealing with captors, and so that's the basis in which Justice Daniels made his statement was based on international law of war, dealing with captivity and captors and salvage. This is not a racist statement. Now, if he put more, if he says more has not been, then whoa. Oh, no. Now we got here more. This is from, I added this. Yeah, I added this and put it in. Yes, I made the adjustments and added more.
So, so Abdullah L. Talib Mosi Bey added more to the statement. Number 2, what does the following statement mean in the context of international law? That the Moors have been acknowledged as belonging to the family of nations, that as amongst them, there has been known or recognized by the inhabitants of other countries partaking of the character of nationality or civil or political polity, that Moors have been by all nations of Europe as a people of treaty, diplomatic, and consular relations.
And you see why they buried who we are?
Yeah. So this is the international law or rules regulating the intercourse of states in peace and war by H.W. Halleck, A.M., author of Elements of Military Art and Science, Mining Laws of Spain and Mexico, etc. San Francisco, H.H. Bancroft and Company, 1861. This is chapter 30, Rights and Duties of Captors. So, number one, we have of captures generally. Number two, of maritime captures. Number three, to whose benefit they inure. 4, title when changed. 5, where prizes must be taken. 6, of joint captures generally. 7, constructive captures by public vessels of war. 8, when actual sight is not necessary. 9, of joint chase. 10, antecedent and subsequent services. 11, ships associated in same enterprise. 12, mere association not sufficient. 13, convoying ships. 14, vessels detached from fleet. 15, joint captures by land and sea forces. 16, by public ships of allies. 17, constructive captures not allowed to privateers. 18, revenue cutters under letters of marque. 19, joint captures by boats. 20, by tenders. 21, by prize masters. 22, by non-commissioned vessels. 23, public vessels of war and privateer, etc. 24, effect of fraud on claims of benefit of joint capture. 25, distribution of prize to joint captors. 26, distribution of head money. 27, collusive captures. 28, forfeiture of claims to prize. 29, liability of captors for damages and costs. 30, of commanders of fleet and vessels. 31, of owners of privateers. 32, duties and responsibilities of prize masters and prize agents.
See, this is major because this whole they're white supremacists, right? They're racist. That how we're analyzing, because it's the lack of knowledge. We'll never rise. This is always emotional. They don't like us. This emotional, and that is because of lack of knowledge. It's the lack of knowledge. This is the level that we have to study, so that we can analyze it from this framework, the international law framework, the law of capture, law of war. And that's what Justice Daniels wrote his statement based in this knowledge. But Europeans and our people will call him a racist, a white supremacist. Right, Israel?
All right.
What color are you?
In this country, black.
Yeah. Oh.
No, for real. My mother is Irish. She's like the Queen of Ireland. And my father is black, and he grew up in Harlem, served his country. And his father's mother, so my great-grandmother, is Venezuelan.
All right. What we have here is Mariah Carey on explaining her race on George Lopez's talk show. Talk show host George Lopez question to Mariah Carey: what color are you? Mariah Carey's answer: in this country, black. No, for real. My mother is Irish. She is like the Queen of Ireland. My father is black. He grew up in Harlem and he served his country. And his father's mother, my great grandmother, is Venezuelan. Analytical question: if Mariah's father's great grandmother is Venezuelan and Mariah's mother is Irish, how did Mariah Carey become black? Fathers of the modern race paradigm. Number 1, Francois Bonheur, French, 1684, Nouvelle Division de la Terre. That's the new division of the earth. Number 2, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, German, 1790 through 1828, Decus Craniorum. Number 3,
I like how you're breaking this down, man. It's
This is the answer to the question. Carl Linnaeus, Swedish, 1735, Systeme Netre. Number 4, analyzing nationalities and national constitutions, embodying national character and national standing of the people of a nation into a national constitution. Outline prepared by Abdullah Talib Mosi Bey, co-founder, curriculum developer, and teacher of the Moroccan Post School of Government and International Law, Terence Bey, school administrator. Outline: nationality is interrelated to the following principles: national sovereignty, national determination, self-governance, national consciousness, national self-consciousness, national pride, national culture, national character, constitutional self-governance, national identity, national name, constitutional identity, the state's identity, sovereign identity of the state. Nationality and sovereignty. This is an AI overview. Nationality and sovereignty are deeply intertwined concepts in international law and political discourse, especially in the context of the modern nation state. Number 1, nationality as a legal bond. Nationality is a legal relationship between an individual and a state, defining a person's membership in that state. It establishes the individual's status as a citizen or national, granting them certain rights and obligations within the state's legal framework. Number 2, sovereignty as state authority. Sovereignty refers to the supreme authority of a state to govern itself and its territory without external interference. It is the foundation of international relations, allowing states to control their domestic affairs and engage in relations with other states on an equal footing. The intertwining. Number 3, the intertwining. Nationality is often seen as a manifestation of a state's sovereignty, as it determines who is considered a national and thus falls under the state's jurisdiction and protection. States, in their capacity as sovereign entities, have the right to determine under their own laws who are their nationals. This power to grant nationality is a key aspect of their sovereignty and a reflection of their control over their population. Nationality also plays a crucial role in international law, particularly concerning diplomatic protection, where a state can protect its nationals who have been injured by the actions of another state. In essence, nationality provides the legal framework for individuals to be connected to a sovereign state, while sovereignty empowers the state to define and manage that relationship. Excuse me. Constitute. We have this is the Senegal's Constitution of 2001 with amendments through 2016. The preamble. The sovereign people of Senegal profoundly attached to their fundamental cultural values, which constitutes the cement of the national unity, convinced of the will of all the citizens, men and women, to assume common destiny by solidarity, work, and patriotic commitment, considering that national construction is founded on individual liberty and respect for the human person, sources of creativity. Conscious of the necessity to affirm and to consolidate the foundations of the nation and of the state, attached to the ideal of African unity, affirm their adhesion to the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen of 1789, and to the international instruments adopted by the Organization of the United Nations and the Organization of African Unity, notably the Universal Declaration of the Rights of Man of 10 December 1948, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination with regard to women of 18 December 1979. What's that?
I would say Islam. I think before a lot of people get sidetracked, like the purpose of us sharing this and understanding, because I think too, Brother Mosi Bay is a little misunderstood at times in how he explains some things, but really understanding that, right, when we look at nationality is really, you know, a spiritual thing, a psychological thing, a civic and a governing thing all in one.
Right.
So in understanding that, right, at the start of this preamble, it says again the sovereign people of Senegal. However, like what distinguishes somebody from Senegal versus somebody from Mali would really necessarily be, you know, the customs. Right now, law is also included in customs because depending on your environment, depending on the history and what's happened, would be the reason why a certain group of people would have certain laws. See what I'm saying? So with that being said, how this relates to our people today is understanding that the prophet said this: it is not money that makes a man, it's free national standards and power that makes a man in the nation. So what that means is what we regiment in our community for growth, expansion, learning, and networking is what's going to keep us lasting as a nation, right? Because, for example, if you look at, you know, the Chinese, right? They have a certain way about doing things. When you look at their culture, you got Confucianism, you got Taoism, all of these different ideologies that then make up how they raise their family, how they do business, how their schooling goes, the laws they make, all of these different things. So right now, what the prophet was trying to explain to our people is the terms and the practices that we do as a people delude to slavery. So first starting with the name, Negro, Black, Colored, then understanding that, okay, some of the things that we practice also delude to slavery, like turning on each other, like being so divisive, like in the 1920s, buying a product to slick our hair back. All of these different things to conform and assimilate to what we think is better because we are operating off of the system. Like they was just saying, Blumenbach and all of these people made up what racism is, what being a racist is, all of these different things. So we are going off a mental framework that came from somebody else's mind, right? So ideologies, for example, let's use an example. Ideologies, when I say, you know, the parallel universe, right? Metaverse, all these different things are like buzzwords in the conscious community. So when I tell you about a parallel universe, your mind is automatically going to try to draw out what that means to you. So now that we have been coerced and forced from the jump to think that we were black based off our family thinking it, based off the media pushing this thing, right? Now these things have been deeply, these thoughts, these ideas, this concept and these ideologies have been deeply supplanted into our subconscious, which then is now used to pretty much put a cap on the actions we may take to be free. For example, right? When something happens, let's just say, police, gun violence, things like that, right? Normally, the first thing that our people would do is protest because we have been, socialized to think that's what we're supposed to be doing. But free national standards would say that, no, don't protest. Actually go to, right, either the rep in your district for where it happened, go to the infrastructure, go to the institutions and try to change it on that level. But because we have been disassociated based off of our conditioning to take certain actions, we are limited in the actions that we take. And this is why our people have been plateaued and stuck in the same position for about 60 years now.
See, this is what we're doing is by showing this as an example, we're showing the steps that we need to take. By reading, this is the steps we need to take. All right. Now, this phrase here, I'm going to explain this. The sovereign people of synagogue. I'm going to explain what this means. I can write a whole book on this. Just that one statement. I can write a whole book just on that one statement. That's a political phrase. And what that means is the collective sovereignty of the people of synagogue vested. So we have the repository, which is the storehouse, that constitution. So the repository of the collective sovereignty of the people of synagogue vested in the Senegalese constitution exercised through their qualified representative. That ties to popular sovereignty. That's a major political phrase of political unity. This is the steps we need to take. We are showing this as an example that this is the knowledge base that we need and the steps we need to take to reversion to sovereignty. Because our Moorish nationality is connected to our pre-existing sovereignty. Our Moorish nationality, embodied in our Moorish nationality, is our inherent right. We don't need no permission from the United States. Our inherent right to restore our pre-existing sovereignty and independence. That's our inherent right. So we're showing. So this phrase, the sovereign people of synagogue, it embodies the interconnection of nationality, sovereignty, and governance. So we wanted to show an actual example. So this is the knowledge base that we're getting the people to. A lot of conscious Moors don't know this. They have to come to this knowledge of the application of showing how sovereignty, how nationality, sovereignty, and governance are interconnected. That's very important. All right. The problem is that with conscious Moors, they don't see nationality as a collective national identity. I'm talking about conscious Moors. I'm not talking about unconscious Moors. I'm talking about conscious Moors. A lot of conscious Moors do not view nationality as a collective national identity. They view it as an individual identity. Through their actions, through their talk, as an individual, they've been groomed. They've been groomed into individual. Nationality is a national collective identity. So what we're doing is we're showing that we have to show actual examples. This Constitution, that political phrase, and you'll see here, are profoundly attached to their fundamental cultural values, which constitutes the cement of the national unity. We also have go up, Israel. It says go up. So go down. I'm sorry. I always get that. Proclaim. All right. We have the integral principle of the integrity of the national territory and of the national unity within respect to for the culture's specificities of all the components of the nation. The inalterability of the national sovereignty, which is expressed through the transparent and the democratic procedures and constitutions, which is expressed. All right. So these are principles of national unity that shows the interconnection among nationality, sovereignty, and governance. Conscious Moors have to come to this knowledge base. This is why we're showing this particular slide. This has to be taught. It hasn't been taught like this, brother. Nationality hasn't been taught like this. Let's be clear. Nationality to conscious Moors has not been taught like this.
I think that's what the brother was saying. Mauryell Smith, right? Am I correct?
I wanted to explain some phrases here. Why are we showing this particular slide? Showing the interconnection of nationality, sovereignty, and governance. And I want to explain certain phrases in there. This is the study of political science. This is major. This is a major study that we got to grow to.
Indeed. Real quick, Mauryell, you were getting ready to say something, right?
Yes, sir. Now, the reason why I said what I said is so that we kind of keep the conversation in alignment with the theme of what you named it, from Moors to African Americans, the forgotten transformation of a people. These concepts and these standards is a part of that process of denigration. Is that of what we lost in the process of going from Moors to then now thinking that we are Black, is that we lost these concepts of how to organize ourselves on a national level. Like some people, even today, let's just say that nobody knew about Moorish American history, Moorish history, anything like that. It's not even inherent in our people to look at the African countries that are today and see, well, how are they governing themselves? Do they have a constitution? Is it a monarchy? Is it a presidential monarchy? Is it a confederation constitution? It's not even inherent in us to even look at other African nations and see what are they doing to govern and organize themselves. Is because we have been disassociated from thinking like that. So that is a part of what's been lost in this process of denigration that the brother is trying to explain. So I just want to kind of make that as simple as possible for some people that might be confused.
Yeah, I'm not clear though, but we can move on. I'm not clear on what you're saying though.
Your brothers are saying the same thing.
Basically saying that.
But I'm saying I'm not clear on it though. I'm not clear. So you saying that we're saying the same thing, but I'm not clear.
Yeah, he's basically just saying how what we're presenting in this, to keep it in context of the title for the show. This is what's missing. So we need to know.
Oh, this is the title. This is the concept of the title of the show.
Right. Yeah. So that's what he's saying. He's saying so the audience know that this is what's missing, because we're showing how we went from Moors to Black, African American and whatnot, to the status we're in today. And he's saying because of the lack of knowledge being passed down to things like that, the way that our minds are set up under colonization, subjugated minds, we're not even thinking to even look towards other constitutions, you know what I'm saying, to get an idea of how to actually draft, you know, look into the principles of the constitutions.
Right, to have these standards of how to even operate. So what you're doing by showing this is bringing back, this is a standard of a nation called Senegal, of this is how Senegal is organizing. Here is their constitution. Here's what they're proclaiming. Here's what they're affirming. You see what I'm saying? Our people currently constructed that standard has been lost in the process of being denigrated and our mind being led to.
Yeah. But there's certain phrases that we wouldn't go, because we can use any other constitution, but there were certain phrases that we wanted to highlight, particularly the political, by principle. See, because we have to explain certain, we have to embody in certain phrases or principles that people would just read it. The people of synagogue.
Yeah.
Like and I asked them, what that mean? Mm-hmm. No. That's a mouthful.
Right.
When you say the people of synagogue, you can write a whole book on that.
Mm-hmm.
The people off. You can write an entire book on that political phrase.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to do a whole on that political phrase, the people off. That's major.
Mm-hmm.
I have to highlight this because we don't know the principles. We're just reading words. We got to get beyond just reading words. We got to break this stuff down. We really need to do a whole presentation on the political phrase, the people of. We need to write a series of articles, a whole book of something. I'm serious. That's how impactful that is. That one political phrase, the people of, the Republic people of China, the people of France, but it's the people of the China or France.
So the question is, why do these different nations use the same phrase?
Yes, and that denotes popular sovereignty. So now that's popular sovereignty, then we get into types of sovereignty and how sovereignty. That's what I'm saying. It's very involved. We could do a whole book, a whole presentation.
Yeah.
And I wanted to highlight that phrase, the political phrase, the people of. I think that would help a lot, man. It would help tremendously for our people to understand the interconnection among nationality, sovereignty, and governance, that we break that political phrase down in detail with multiple examples, references and everything. Because I understand what it is. It's not just words to me.
Right, and I was just giving a context of why it's even important for you to even highlight that to people that may not even understand where you're even coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Understand where you come from.
Makes sense, yeah. Yeah, everything's in sync, yeah. So then we're going to show, we go to different preambles as well, though, different constitutions. This is Germany, 1949, revised 2014. Conscious of their responsibility before God and man, inspired by the determination to promote world peace as an equal partner in a united Europe. The German people, in the exercise of their constituent power, have adopted this basic law. Germans in the Länder of Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, Berlin, Brandenburg, Bremen, Hamburg, Hesse, Lower Saxony, Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, North Rhine-Westphalia, Rhineland-Palatinate, Saarland, Saxony-Anhalt, Schleswig, Holstein, and Thuringia have achieved the unity and freedom of Germany in free self-determination. This basic law thus applies to the entire German people.
Now it has here, go up, gets to constituent power. The German, and I mentioned constituent power, like there's certain.
Yeah. Yeah,
See
right.
that? Yeah. German people in the exercise of their constituent power,
Right.
and we break that down.
The constant, the elements of the
Yep.
state.
Like that was something that we would pull out,
Yeah.
and we would explain that. That's that part. Now go yes. Because there's certain parts that we'll explain by principle. We will break what the principle is. Because they're not going to put the they're not going to state what they're just going to state the terms, the stamp the language that embodies the principle. You agree? Go ahead. Let me see. They have the German people.
Yeah. It's a continuation of the same German constitution. 1, basic rights. Article 1, human dignity, human rights, legally binding.
Oh, yeah, these are basic rights, yeah.
Basic rights, yeah. Human dignity shall be. Number 2, the German people, therefore, acknowledge inviolable and inalienable human rights as the basis of every community of peace and of justice in the world. Yeah. So we'll just go to the show you we the people in the constitutions.
Yeah, that was that. Yes, yeah.
Constitution of the People's Republic of China. Preamble is on this page. China is a country with one of the longest histories in the world. The people of all of China's ethnicities have jointly created a culture of grandeur and have a glorious revolutionary tradition. So this is the people of all of China.
And there's the name, the constitutional name, the People's Republic of China.
Yeah.
And then what does that mean? See, people are just saying these names, but they're embodied in there are principles. And this is what we're teaching the people, the principles that those names because that's what they embody. And it has to be detailed study on that.
Yeah, how does it operate?
I'm saying before, a lot of countries Moors don't know nationality, brothers. They don't. They don't know the political. They don't know the application of nationality.
It's because the legal principles are missing. They don't know that.
Islam.
I'm a Moor. Yeah, and it's always individual.
Yeah, the principles are key.
Major.
Islam, there's a question in the chat. It says, is there any traceable direct connection between the Black Royal Guard of Morocco and Moorish nationality in America? The Treaty of Friendship with Morocco seems like it was discussing them.
But Black Royal Guard. What's the Black Royal Guard?
So what they're mentioning is that
I'm not sure the Black Royal Guard.
There was I want to say towards the mid to late 1600s up until all of the 1700s, towards the end of the 1700s, early 1800s. What Morocco was doing was they were getting brothers and sisters further south from areas like Mali, from areas like Niger, Mauritania, Senegal, Ghana, etc. And they were bringing them into Morocco to be a part of the army, because what was happening was you would have the different tribes that was in Morocco already fighting and vying for power. So they were bringing basically mercenaries from outside of the nation so that they could be completely loyal to the Sultan. And the connection that they have is they were coming again from areas further south from Morocco. So that connection is understanding that when you look at the different ethnic groups that were brought to the United States, and then also looking at, here's a term that you rarely hear. It's the Pashalik of Timbuktu. The Pashalik of Timbuktu is when, after 1591, when Morocco took over Timbuktu, it was nominally and literally, legally, Timbuktu in Mali was a part of the Moroccan Empire. Timbuktu is actually also a mirror of what certain plantations would have looked like. And what I mean by that is the different ethnic groups that were in the plantation system in the American South, and the different ethnic groups that will be in Timbuktu because of trade, education, or Sufi spiritual reasons as well, it would have been these different ethnic groups is a part of when the prophet says, why are we Moorish American? Well, we're the descendants of Moroccans and born in America. Moroccans, from its broadest scope, implies several different ethnic groups. And these same ethnic groups were a part of the ethnic groups that were also trafficked to West Africa. So that is really the connection between this Black Royal Guard of Morocco, Moorish nationality, and who we are today.
Check. All right.
What I'm seeing is that the Black Guard, called Abid al-Bukhari, is today called the Moroccan Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just I still didn't get a clear now. Yeah, that helps me out now with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if y'all have more to present. We're almost out of time.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time. If you want to, give some last statements, you can. Oh, somebody asked about Sabir Bey. Sabir Bey. He's hard to get in touch with, man. He's hard to get in touch with. So, someone asked about that. The theology of time will get us through the fall of America. I like that, brother. Adept More 7. So no last statements.
I was gonna let the brothers go first.
Yeah, I was looking at the comments for real, see if there was any questions or anything to address. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess there's one misconception we could address real quick. The only international legal way to claim your nationality is to expatriate.
Yeah, I saw that.
U.S. citizenship to the Empire of Morocco. Well,
all right, therefore they don't know the history then, or how did we become part of the United States? What is our original status? What is our original status? Because does that application apply? Is that the proper application of law? Expatriation. Does that person know what expatriation is? By process. Apparently not.
Because it doesn't mean to go back. Because repatriate means to go back.
Repatriate. Yes, exactly. So, all right. So by process. So yeah, they have to understand. They need to look up expatriate and repatriate in the process. They need to look up acquisition of nationality through subjugation. They need to look up collective naturalization. How did we become part of the United States? Because expatriation is voluntary, would be that someone, all right, X out, all right. So France, all right. So the would leave. So someone expatriate, which means they're leaving France. They out means X means out. They're leaving France. And it would become tied to another jurisdiction, but that's voluntary. That's not the proper. Our acts are not violent. We were forced into the United States legal system through the international law legal process known as acquisition of nationality through subjugation. So the proper application for us would be either reversion to sovereignty, or self-determination, or post-millennium. Not expatriate, neither expatriation or repatriation.
Yeah, right.
There's no volunteering. We didn't volunteer. Into the United States jurisdiction. We were forced.
Yeah, so those are the
Native people Hawaii didn't volunteer. So repatriation is not the proper application of law for the Native people of Hawaii. They were forced The United States in 1898 subjugated Hawaii and later annexed it. In the year 1900, through a United States legislation applying the international law principle of acquisition of nationality through subjugation. That means the United States forced the native people of the Kingdom of Hawaii into the United States legal system in 1900 through United States legislation, and thereby placing them into a new citizenship framework. Their remedy is not repatriation. Their remedy would be reversion to sovereignty or self-determination, not repatriation.
Yeah.
Islam, what I would say to that too is I think also that we kind of feed into the narrative that every one of us were enslaved during the time of slavery, and that's just not necessarily true. Understanding that, you know, in places like Maryland, places like New York, places like Pennsylvania, right, you have whole sections and time and neighborhoods of people who probably never were enslaved, who probably didn't really consider themselves Negroes as well. So I think we have to also speak to the nuances of our situation, because even when you look at, right, how, you know, the Constitution talks about the 3/5 clause and all those different things, it would again be, the onus will be on us if we identify as what's being described there. So if you are identifying as a Negro, you're automatically putting yourself in this bucket. However,
Let's clear that up, though. We want to clear that up.
However, if you know who you are, like for example, right, the Sundry Free Moors Act, right? These are Moors who knew who they were, who petitioned the government to say we are not this. This is 1790. This is the formation foundation of the United States. This is, you know, 60, 70 plus years before the Civil War, all of these different things. So saying that to say, right, everybody weren't nuancedly, everybody wasn't necessarily forced. Also, when you look at the history of even how native populations became a part of the United States, a lot of these nations were split. Because what you have is certain nations, look this up, this term called the Praying Indians. You will see a bunch of different articles on this of how a lot of Indians actually willfully converted to Christianity. So what we have to look at is the process of thought, things being introduced to these people. A lot of people actually, basically what I'm trying to say is native indigenous populations became split on European influence. Europeans then used those natives, indigenous peoples, Africans who were kind of on their side to then fight against those who weren't on their side. And a perfect example of that is the Yamasee War in the Carolinas, to where now the British used the Yamasee to run the Tuscarora out of the Carolinas. The Tuscarora then moved north to New York, and they come a part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and they go from being the 5 tribes to the 6 tribes. Then the British then now use other tribes, the Catawbas, Cherokees, things like that, to now flip on the Yamasee. So this is a process. It's more nuanced than, you know, a lot of the overgeneralization.
Copy. Well, we're out of time now. Pardon me, y'all. I know, like, y'all on the CPT time. Y'all coming later on the podcast. We start at 7 o'clock, y'all. 7 o'clock. Thank you, brothers, for coming out this evening. I really appreciate y'all. We'll build on the next topic, and that's pretty much it. If you have any last things to say, you know, you got the floor.
For anybody interested in getting in my books, go to moorsandmasonry.org. In fact, I've seen the book covers. I forgot to do that, Ron. I've seen the book covers.
Yeah, make sure you send me everything so I can put it up
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
screen.
yeah. I'll do that tomorrow. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
All
Yep.
right. On that
All right.
note,
Thank you.
on that note, we are out of here. In
Peace.
Peace, family. Welcome to NYP Talk Show. This is more than a podcast. It's a conscious platform rooted in truth and culture. From the 5% Nation, Nation of Islam, Moorish movement, and Masonry. Our mission is to reclaim our narrative and uplift the African diaspora with real stories and real conversations. Support us through super chats during live shows, donations on Cash App, GoFundMe, Patreon, or Buzzsprout, and by repping our official merch, available on our website and right here on YouTube's merch shelf. Every dollar, every super chat, every hoodie builds the movement. This is NYP Talk.